Hey, it's Alex Radical from BoardGameCo, and welcome to another week in review. Starting straight off the bat, last Saturday, we had two reviews going up. We had Cyclades and Quodd Heroes, which went up on the channel. I recommend checking them both out if you are in any way interested in area control, in fighting and combat. Then Cyclades is a game that I really like. It has bidding and fighting and timing and creatures and powers and abilities and all good things. And if you haven't heard of that one or picked that one up, it is a fairly older game, all things considered, by whatever standards. It's a great one to check out. I recommend watching that review and grabbing a copy for your collection. And then we have Quodd Heroes, which is going to be a game that I'm far less certain of the longevity. Cyclades has been in my collection for a very long time. Quodd Heroes, I don't know how long it will last, but I will say that I hope it lasts for a long time. I really enjoy it. It has a Robo-Rally-esque style of action programming, of trying to figure out how you're going to move your quad around the board, how you're going to tumble, toss, and turn, and it really adds a lot of crazy to the mix, a crazy in a fun way. It's not a game that I consider high strategy. There's definitely strategic depth and choice. There's also enough chaos and madness that if you really feel that you need to fairly win, this is probably not a game for you. Whereas if you appreciate making complicated decisions, and you may win, or your opponent may win because they got lucky and drew a tunnel card and bounced off a spring and landed here, but all the chaos and madness of it is fun to you, well, that's Quodd Heroes. I like Quodd Heroes and the fun it brings to the table, as opposed to the strategic depth it brings to the table. Although, again, choices are definitely key, but I recommend checking those both out. Those went up last Saturday. And then we went to Sunday, where I had a live stream together with Quackalope, a live stream with Jesse Anderson. I went to visit him this past weekend. We played a bunch of games, filled a bunch of games for various prototypes coming up. We have a few things on that. We have a gameplay we played of Primal. We played some Kingdom Rush. We had a whole bunch of games. Some of the videos have already gone up. I had a video went up on his channel on Thursday, I believe. It's a video of me absolutely destroying him in Galaxy Trucker. And so, some context there, because Galaxy Trucker is an older game. Why are we suddenly playing that on the channel? We have a podcast together, The Weekly Quack, and one week I mentioned that I got rid of Galaxy Trucker because I was simply too good at it. Now, I'm not a bragging person by nature, but I got rid of Galaxy Trucker because I was too good at it. It wasn't a question. I loved the game, and therefore I got the app when it came out, and I played the app 100 times, and then I went back to play it with people, and I realized I had escalated myself to a point that I couldn't play it with people, even with the Even Steven cards, which are a balancing mechanic in the game. And so Jesse did not believe me. And Jesse said that one day we'll have to play that game and give it a shot so that he can, destroy me in the game. And I did indeed destroy him in our game of Galaxy Trucker. It was not remotely close. It's really not a bragging thing. It's if you play Galaxy Truckers 100 times, you will simply know the various pieces in play. You'll know them far too well that no other player will have a real chance of building the same engine, the same ship that you do. And so Galaxy Truckers, while being a great game, is one of the reasons I no longer play apps of games that I still want to own. Through the Ages is an app that I play, but with the people I play Through the Ages with. I don't play it with strangers because I don't want to bridge that gap too far of their skill level versus my skill level. And that's a very long tangent to talk about a video that's not even on my channel. But that was, so I had a live stream on Sunday with Quackalope, long tangent there, live stream where we talked about primarily ISS Vanguard, but really anything that anyone wanted to ask, because that's what I do. I'll answer any question, or almost any question. So far it's been any question, but we'll see how that plays out. Moving to Monday. Monday, I had an ISS Vanguard update video, and that covered, by now ISS Vanguard is over, so you can be done with hearing about that for at least some time now. But ISS Vanguard, I did a full update covering all the updates, the additions, the optional buys. Because I put that video out before they actually added the last optional buy, they added a full new optional buy of a whole new campaign, mixing things up further, giving you alien races, just more good stuff to the game, as well as an all-in pledge as well. And they had a few stuff. They also had some drama around Elon Musk. The world is an interesting place. There's always an opportunity to be offended or hurt by anything. And don't get me wrong, I respect disagreeing with people. I respect that completely. But we've gone to a place of cancel culture where anything someone does is cause for just sheer outrage. They put out this Elon Musk card as a tribute to Elon Musk and space exploration, and they had this thing. And then it rapidly turned into thousands of people. I don't know if it's thousands, but it was definitely a vocal minority. Maybe it was hundreds of people saying, well, if Elon Musk is in the game, I'm canceling my pledge, which, again, just the obscenity of it, the way we live in this world that's just triggered by outrage, that people are looking for things to be offended by. Imagine the mental headspace you have to dedicate to being so frequently upset at what other people do all the time. The concept of live and let live is such an archaic concept. The concept of don't worry about it. And yes, there will be people in the comments here too, probably, maybe, hopefully not, but we never know, who say, but no, Elon Musk is a horrible human being and we have to stand for this. We have to stand against his horrible human beingness and immediately attack Awakened Realms for being horrible. I mean, there's ways to display your opinion. There's ways to not, to attack others who don't have that intent. There's a big gap between being socially aware and being a force for change and a force for good versus just being someone who's shouting at other people on the internet and is not in any way being a force for good. We live in interesting times that I'm sure even just saying something like this, even just pushing back against it will get me my fair share of people who appreciate that. And it'll also get me my fair share of people who think that I am the privileged, white guy who can just say what he wants because I'm not being oppressed by Elon Musk. I don't know why I do these videos. I don't know why I don't edit, but nonetheless, that's just my little thing. We'll see. Hopefully the Week in Review videos are watched only by my most dedicated hardcore fans, so I don't have to deal with whatever. But I will deal with it because I'm not one to shy away from a conversation. I never have been, and hopefully I never will be. Bringing us to Tuesday. Tuesday was games leaving my collection. There were two notable standouts here. One that was going to be more notable for most people, which is Dwellings of Eldervale, a game I already reviewed. And while I think it's good, it just didn't do it for me. I mentioned games that area control games that I absolutely love, and Cyclades is one of them. Dwellings of Eldervale for me was merely a good game, an enjoyable game, one that I would not turn down, but I do not feel the need to own. And that one, people are still shocked at the fact that I'm getting rid of that one. From there, the one that was more personal to me is Acquire. Acquire is a game that has sat on my shelf unplayed for going on 2 years now, and I realized, for me, the length of time is not the only factor. It is usually the factor that drives me to consider whether a game is leaving my collection, but it's not the end-all and be-all. Rising Sun I haven't played in 3 years, and it's still here. Because when I look at Rising Sun, I know that there's times and opportunities that I would love to get it out, and COVID has certainly made it harder to play games that I play with 5 people, and I prefer Rising Sun with 5 people. So there are various factors at play, versus Acquire is a game that I don't think I really want to pull out. There are so many good games. For me, I said that it's going to be replaced by Stockpile when I want something shorter and accessible, and then replaced by Indonesia when I want that deep strategic depth. Acquire falls into this middle zone of having enough luck that I think it's not as good, while also being an incredible game, especially for its age. And so Acquire sadly is gone. Who knows? We'll see how time plays out. Maybe they come up with some deluxified edition, redone. I don't know. I'm always a sucker for, well, anything really. From there, we're going to go to Wednesday, where I had Rina's most played board games. My wife and I sat down and we did a video together where it was basically a game show. We basically sat there. She guessed, and I have my own video coming up next week, which I'll talk about soon. But I sat there she sat there and she guessed what her top 10 most played games were as I pulled them out from behind the curtain. For me, it was a ton of fun. I absolutely had a blast doing it. One of my favorite videos I've done on the channel, because it was really just me spending a half an hour with my wife having fun talking about board games and having some just fun talking about board games. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Hopefully you did as well. And there'll be more videos with her as always. She enjoys being on the channel. I enjoy spending time with her. And so far, she seems generally more popular than I am, which is enough reason to keep having her back on the channel. Which brings us to Thursday, which continued my top 50 games of all time, going from 30 down to 21. I don't even remember what's in there. I don't remember which games my 30 from 21. I think Lost Ruins of Arnak was in there. I think there were 3 CGE games. There was Codenames Duet, Lost Ruins of Arnak, and Under Falling Skies. I believe Super Fantasy Brawl was in there. Lots of good games, a decent amount of them that are new to me, including, well, Under Falling Skies, Super Fantasy Brawl, and Lost Ruins of Arnak. All 3 of those games are genuinely so excited to add those to my collection. Happy to have them in my top 50, and especially that high up. I think we have some new ones that are even higher on there, but I have to look at my top 20, which will have the next one coming this next Thursday, and the next one coming the Thursday after that. Spacing them out, perhaps too far. We'll see. We'll figure it all out. And from there, on Friday, we have all the Kickstarters coming up, which is basically, I did a full video covering Kickstarters coming in 2021, those that I'm excited about, and this is a good time to mention, one of the reasons I enjoy doing the weekly review is it gives me an opportunity not just to tell you what videos you may have missed that to be interested in, but also to talk about things that I forgot, that I missed, and the problem with the concept of doing lists of upcoming Kickstarters is something that's new to me. I've always done Kickstarters that are currently happening and having a brief week ahead window, and I recently just started doing late pledges, and so late pledges and upcoming Kickstarters are going to be new things that I have to struggle my way through to come up with better systems that work for me to track all this information to make sure I'm on top of things. And so there were a few Kickstarters that I absolutely missed. There were 2 that I missed and 1 that I found out about after filming that video that I totally forgot and should 100% have been in that video. And the first one is going to be Kingdom Rush Elemental Uprising, which is the new standalone game for Kingdom Rush. By the way, I'll put a link down below. It's going to be on GameFound. So this is going to be the second Kickstarter on the second board game on GameFound, which is where ISS just was, and so Kingdom Rush Elemental Uprising will be there. I have already had the opportunity to sort of play the prototype. I'm getting some new stuff because they're shifting some things up, so I've already had the opportunity to play it, and I can tell you that, I'll tell you more when I actually do my content around it, but overall I recommend it, and that one's coming to Kickstarter, I believe, coming to GameFound. Jeez. That was coming to GameFound February 9th, if I'm not mistaken. Link down below to sign up so you can get the notification or all that when it does come out. And again, it's a standalone game, so it's going to give you more content that you can mix and mingle with new heroes, new towers, new all of that stuff, but ultimately it's also going to bring new mechanics to the table, new things to the game. It's going to shift up both some aspects of the way the game plays. I'm not going to comment overly on it because I know that I'm still waiting for some things in the prototype, but overall it does shift things up and give you more content for the game. The other two that I missed, one of them I'm forgetting again. Either way, it's one that's coming up shortly. There's another one that's coming up shortly. I should have taken a note on this. And then the third one is one that I just found out about, which is going to be coming in April, from the designers of It's a Wonderful World. We have It's a Wonderful, Kingdom, or It's a Wonderful something. It's a new game in that Wonderful World line, although I think it's more medieval themed. I think It's a Wonderful Kingdom, but I could be mistaken on the exact title, but that will be coming in April. So those are games that I missed in all the Kickstarters video. Past that, I basically talk about, 30 or so Kickstarters that we know are coming in the first half of 2021. I will be doing more of these videos. I'm anticipating doing them either quarterly or yearly. They are, as of right now, they are not going to be a monthly series, but we'll see how that plays out over time. And so, as usual, feedback is welcome. If you liked it, if you enjoyed it, if it adds value, let me know. Those are the videos I keep doing versus videos that don't get views or don't get as much attention, are series that I slowly do phase out because, well, it's always a balance of doing things I love versus also doing things that people enjoy or get value out of. And so yeah, that would be Friday. And lastly, that brings us to Saturday. Saturday's today. Obviously, you're watching this video at 10 a.m. No, that's 10 a.m. now. At 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, there will be a CoraQuest interview with my daughter, which is honestly, it's interesting. I debated putting this video up. It's not the best interview because it's really my daughter interviewing Cora from CoraQuest. So it's like a 9-year-old and a 10-year-old. I don't actually know how old Cora is, but it's roughly 2 9-year-olds corresponding, and that goes about as well as you might think, considering I think it's their first time doing solo things on their own. But you will get some information from it, and either way, I figured I'll put it up. And that's an interview for CoraQuest, which is an upcoming game that I have played, have really enjoyed, and will be doing a review of. That's going to be coming to Kickstarter February 1st, I want to say. At 2 p.m., I have a review of Innis. That's the game on the table over here. That's part of the Kemet Cyclades Innis trilogy of games. And I have a review coming of Innis at 2 o'clock p.m. And then finally, at 4 p.m., I have a review of Castles of Tuscany with my wife, with Rina, where we reviewed Castles of Tuscany together. And we'll see how that goes, because as you may or may not know, Castles of Burgundy is her favorite game of all time, which makes Castles of Tuscany a game that we have to review together. Past that, coming up this week, there will be a Kickstarter roundup on Monday. I don't know, it's not going to be that long. There's still not that much Kickstarters out there, but there's enough that I will do a Kickstarter roundup video, probably on the shorter end. And then on Wednesday again, check out my most played games, where my wife and I switch positions, where I have to guess what games I played the most in 2020. And that's going to be your week in review. As usual, I'll see you throughout the week. I'll see you in whatever. And I'm Alex Radcliffe from BoardGameCo. Thank you for being here. And as always, have a good one.